Hi everyone, bonjour tout le monde. So we're gonna talk about read and write and Equatio today. I'm gonna go back and forth between English and français. So si vous avez des questions en français, gênez-vous pas. And same thing in English. We can help in both languages today. So I'm André Morin. I'm program specialist with the CSFP. And I got two co-hosts today that I'm going to let themselves introduce themselves.
I'll go first. My name is Christine Elliott. I work with NLESD, and I'm itinerant for Maker Education and Coding with them. Also a member at large with TESIC, so that's the Technology and Education Special Interest Council, and we've had several sessions, I guess, over the past few weeks. And this one today, I'm going to be looking at a little bit of the Equatio option that we have here. And unfortunately, if there's any French with what I'm doing, then Andre or Megan are probably going to have to jump in because I am not bilingual.
Yep. Megan?
Hi, my name is Megan Heath. I work as a science and tech teacher with at Equatio du Nord in St. John's with the CSFP. And I'm also a member at large for TESIC, and I can answer any questions in French or in English that you may have. I'm more familiar with Equatio, so that works out well, Christine.
Perfect. So I forgot to say I'm TESIC member as well. I'm membership coordinator. And I am more familiar with read and write. So I'll probably be more comfortable answering questions for that one and let Megan and Christine answer the questions for Equatio. If you have questions throughout the presentation, don't hesitate to raise your hand, or you can also, I'm going to start the question function, question et réponse. I don't know what it is in English because my meet is in French. So I'm just gonna, you should get a pop-up there to tell you that that's activated. So you can also send your questions in there, and those questions will be recorded. If you're more comfortable to ask your questions when we're done recording, we're gonna stop the recording at the end of the presentation, and you can ask your questions then. But feel free to stop me or any of us if you have questions as we go along. So I'm just gonna start with the presentation here. So all the slides are kind of bilingual. I did a French slide and an English slide. I'm gonna try and go kind of back and forth to accommodate everybody. So read and write is a support tool to help kids with reading and writing. And the goal behind it really is to make them more confident and independent in the literacy skills. Donc, c'est un outil de support pour aider les élèves au niveau de la lecture et l'écriture, avec plusieurs fonctions qu'on va voir plus en détail dans quelques minutes. And Equatio is an edtech software to support the STEM aspect of tech-enabled classrooms, and it kind of makes math more, it transfers math into a digital format more easily. So the goal behind those extensions, I guess, is to unlock everyone's full potential through technology, donc permettre de démontrer le plein potentiel des élèves avec la technologie, en tenant compte des différences et des troubles et que la langue ne soit plus des barrières. So it is free for teachers. There is a link there that you can click on that link. I'm going to share. Actually, I should just share it in the chat now. So you can fill out that form, and it's going to give you access to the premium functions for more than the 30 days that are there in the free version. And unfortunately, the form is in English only. So there you go, just shared the link with you. So I added slides, and Christine has the slides as well in her presentation that she just shared in the chat on how to add the extensions. I'm going to show it because I think it's easier to see if I show it as I go. But when you refer to the slides after, there's all the steps are numbered in my presentation. So basically you go, you click on those 3 dots in your Chrome browser. And my browser is in French, so I don't know what the translations are, but plus d'outils, I imagine it's more tools. And then you go to extension, which is the same, extensions. That's going to open up this page. You're going to click on the 3 lines that are next to extensions. And at the bottom, you're going to find the Ouvrir le Chrome Web Store, open Chrome Web Store. And from there, in the search bar, you can look for your extensions. To make it easier to find it, you should do the and with that symbol here, because otherwise it'll be way down at the bottom of the extension list that's going to come up. Donc, c'est important de mettre le symbole et, comme je l'ai écrit là. And this is the one here. Because it's already on my computer now, or on my Google Chrome, it says I need to delete it, but it would be ajouter à Chrome. So I think it's add to Chrome. I'm not sure what the translation is in English. And then once that's done, you might not see it up here. And if you don't, you can click on this puzzle here, the black puzzle, and you're gonna see the read and write here. Oh yes, Christine, you're right. There's a bunch of authorizations that you need to do once you add it to your browser. And you can épingler, you can pin it, I guess, to the bar up there. So that's how to install it, and it's the same steps for Equatio as well. All right, so I'm just going to skip those steps, or you can go back to them after. So I'm going to go now and start exploring the functions. I'm going to show you the functions in a Google Doc. You can also use them in slides, and I'm going to show them in a web browser because it's a little different between one and the other with read and write. And don't forget, you can stop me at any time if I'm going too fast or you want me to go over a function again. Or if you want me to repeat it in French, you can stop me and I will. So the first function here, Christine, did you have something to?
I was just going to ask, was everybody successful, or do they have read and write already installed? Or maybe it's easier to say who doesn't have read or write installed. Speak up, please.
I guess. Okay. So Dawn, if it's not installed on that device, but you're connected with your Google account, you should be able to have access to it on your other device as well. You might have to add the extension to that Chrome browser, but your premium access should be the same on that computer as well.
And Amanda says she doesn't. Amanda, are you on a teacher laptop?
Anyone that doesn't have it now could install the free version because it's free for 30 days and you're going to have access to all the functions as well.
Yeah.
And you can
it is fairly quick. So yeah, it's just if you can repeat that process. And we did share I did share Andre's slide deck showing how to do it, so you can have access to that as well.
Sorry, I just haven't downloaded it yet, but my son uses it on his Chromebook, so I'm comfortable with using it.
Okay, perfect. All right, so the first function is the word predictor, la prédiction de mots. So if I click on it, there's different options that you can set up in the settings up here, where it can show 3 words instead of 10. So when I start typing a word, and I can set it in English as well. So right now it is my settings are in French, but I can change the language on it. If I start typing a word, it's gonna give me words that start with the letters that are there. So the predictor is not does not predict the words phonetically. So you really have to try different sounds. So if I wanted to say bonjour and I put in a G instead of a J, it's going to give me words that start with B-O-N-G. So kids have to know their sounds, or the letters of the sounds that they're trying to make. And I'm not sure if that's something you run into in English, but I'm assuming yes. It is something we run into in French. Yeah. When I write my word, then they're going to suggest words, even if I'm not trying to spell anything. They're going to suggest words that usually you would use after the word you wrote. So it is predicting in that sense as well. Most of the time, what I suggest for the kids, because it's kind of overwhelming when you're typing and the computer's kind of telling you the words that it's predicting, and it pops up like sorry, it pops up all the time. So I suggest to turn it off while they're writing their text, to just so that it doesn't interfere with their ideas, and then they can just turn it on to go see the words that are underlined. So that's the first function. The second one is the dictionary. So this is dictionary like you would see in a regular dictionary, where it gives you a definition. And there's also a dictionnaire illustré. So what would that be in English? Dictionnaire illustré. Visual dictionary, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. So if I'm in a web browser, for example, and I don't know, I'm doing research online, and I don't know what pelage means, so I can underline pelage, and I can go in the dictionary, and it's going to give me a definition of what that word means. If I press play, it's going to read that definition for me, and I can do the same thing with the dictionnaire visuel. So it's going to give me a picture, an image of what that word means. So that is quite useful when you're doing research for students, especially like in our situation where French is a second language. So sometimes they won't know what the word means. They can use the visual dictionary, so it gives them an image of what it is. After that, I don't know if you noticed, but there's functions here when I'm in the web browser that are not in Google Docs. So we'll go over them later. So play, pause, and stop. That's pretty straightforward. Don't say, if I want to read the text, I can either underline the text that I want to be read. I can pause it, and it's going to stop where it's at, and then I hit play again. It's going to restart where it stopped, or I can stop it completely. So that's just going to read the text for the kid. I'll show you, there's different functions when you're in a web page and it's kind of a text in an image. I'll show you how to do that later. Well, I guess I can show it to you now because this is the next function here. So if I want to read this text, I can use this lecteur d'écran. So I don't know what that function is called in English, but it's the arrow inside the square. If I, hang on a sec. I have to install that one. So what it does, I'm just gonna add it now. What it does is I can put a square around the text that I want to be read. I think I should be able to do it now. Might not work for me today. I guess not. So what it does is you encode ton texte, so you put the square around the text you want to be read, and it will read the text that is there in the image. I don't know if that makes sense. I never explained it in English before. Okay. Okay. Then this one, ajustement de son. So if I wanted to, hang on a sec. I need to underline some text before I use that one. And what it's going to do is it's going to give me an audio clip of that text. So down here, it downloaded an MP3, and it's giving me just the audio of the text. This one here is I can do a web search right from the page that I'm in. So if I underline bank or bank, I can do this here, and it's going to give me a search results for bank. This one here, so this one will help with kids that have issues with the color contrast when they're reading. So sometimes with dyslexia, it does happen, and it can also reduce the amount of text that they see at a time. So if I use this, you see it kind of shows up in a kind of like a ruler style, and I can change the colors. So if somebody has issues with the contrast black on white, they can go in the settings here and change the settings, and they can change the contrast as well. So that'll hide the text, like, because I can make it completely black or less black, and I can change the color of the illuminated part. So I can make it yellow or green. Oh, it didn't work. That didn't work. Oh, there you go. So I have to. So that changes the contrast of the black on white. It just makes it green. Sometimes it makes it easier for kids to see the text with this, and it focuses their attention on what they're reading. You can use that one in the web page as well. This one is speech to text, parler écrire. So if I click on it, there's a microphone that'll come up. Once I click on the microphone, bonjour, bonjour, mon nom est André. So it'll write what I'm saying. My setting is in French, but you can set it in English. So it writes in English what you're trying to say if you're speaking in English. This one here is a translator. So if I want to know, or if I'm writing in French but I know the word in English, like traffic here, I can underline it, go to the translator, and it's going to give me the translation of the word that I'm writing. You can change the settings of the translator as well if you want to translate from English to French or from French to English. The highlighters here can help you create lists. So for example, I can ask the kids, I want all the verbs to be underlined in green and all the nouns to be underlined in blue. So when the kids go and underline their words, I have some that are already underlined to show you something else later. But if I underline a few words in blue and green, and then I can do some in pink. When I come here, rassembler les marqueurs, so I can choose which color I want to show up. So I just want the blue and the red for now. And it's going to give me a list of the words that I underlined. And it's going to open that list in a new document. And from here, like, you can do different activities with the words. If the kids wanted to do a word puzzle or anything like that, they can just take out specific words either from the text that they wrote or a text that you shared with them, or from a web page. So if you wanted to choose like specific words or if you were describing where the pandas live, for example, you could choose all the words that you want to underline in that web search, and it would come up as a list of words or a list of keywords from your research. And the other thing you can do with that is this one here, liste de vocabulaire. So this one will come up as a different doc as well, but the words that I selected will come up with the definition from the dictionary, and it will come up with the dictionnaire visuel as well, the picture from the visual dictionary. And from here, you can add your own definition, or you can add comments or anything like that. Like, my pictures are not loading, but there's going to be pictures here that represent the word that is there. There you go. All right. If you want to take away all the highlights at once, you just use that little broom here, and it will take them all away. If you want to leave a note, so a vocal message, un message vocal. So this is why I underlined all the green ones here. So this kid has issues. He can't he doesn't know the difference between a and e, like est, et. So I underlined all the words, and I can leave him a vocal message here. So it is limited to 1 minute. But if I want to leave him some feedback or tell him, peux-tu vérifier les et, assure-toi que ça ne devrait pas être un e, est. And then I hit stop and just click on ajouter, add, I'm assuming in English. And there will be a play button that will come up here that the kids can listen to. So if they hit play, they will hear the message that I left, and they can go and fix the work or do the work that I asked. But it is limited to 1 minute. And this one here, pratique de lecture à haute voix. So if a child wants to show you or practice to read and send it to you, so maybe some kids they're more nervous when you're there with them, and they do better when they're on their own. They can just, if you have the text up on a Google Doc, they can click here and record themselves when they're ready to read. So the text I have to underline text. The text that you underline can be read and recorded. And once that's done, the student can send it to you, so you can listen to what they were reading instead of being on the spot and face-to-face. So I think that's the functions in the Word document. I'm just going to show you the ones that are left. Oui, Megan?
J'ai une question. I was wondering, when you're talking about like going back with the translator from like French to English, does it translate other languages? Like, for example, I'm thinking like if you're in I know like bigger schools in St. John's have like a big ESL, like English second language community. So like if a child is like first language is like, for example, Arabic
or Spanish, yeah. I believe so. So for that, all the translation or all the language changes, if you go into les 3 points ici, and you go to options or settings, I'm assuming, if you go to language, so you can change the language here, and if you go to I thought there was one for the yes, so translation here, there's all kinds of languages that you can translate to. So it's in the first one up top, parole. I'm not sure what it would be in English. You can also change the voice, so there's different ones for French, and you can change the voice to all kinds of languages, like tons of them. So English has the Canadian English, it has French like France French, and English has different ones as well. You get the American English and the British English, and you can change the speed that the voice is talking to. Sometimes it automatically sets it to 50. It's usually too fast for the kids to understand, so you can dial it down a bit. And you can change the translator to the language that you want to translate to. That's the settings I was saying about the word prediction. So you can lower it to a minimum of 3 words that shows up on your screen, pops up on your screen at a time. This one, that's for the ruler. This one is for the main language of the functions in your read and write. And you can activate or deactivate different functions. So if it's younger kids and you don't want them to have access to all of this because it's too much and to just play with it, you can turn off some of the functions for them. In your browser, the other functions that are not on the Google Doc is this one here. So I don't know if it's going to work for me now. No, it's not going to work. So I don't know why it kind of, the reader kind of went away on my computer, but it basically does the same thing as this one that I showed you earlier. So when you're in a web page and you want to read a section of the web page and you don't want to read all of the titles, you really just want to read this text, that one will do the same thing. So when it's underlined, it will read only the text that's underlined in that web page instead of reading all the titles that are up there. And other than that, I think.
Est-ce qu'il faut cliquer sur le, so si tu comme encadre, est-ce qu'il faut cliquer après?
So, qu'est-ce que ça va faire quand tu vas encadrer? Quand tu vas aller autour, tu vas voir comme les couleurs de Google qui vont comme se promener autour du carré, puis sont en train de déchiffrer le texte, si tu veux. Puis quand ça a fini, quand les couleurs ont fini de se promener, ça va lire le texte pour toi. Il y a comme un play button qui va apparaître en bas. OK? L'autre fonction, la fonction qui est différente dans le web browser, c'est si tu as des pages web souvent qui a beaucoup de photos, puis il y a des annonces, puis toutes sortes de choses comme ça. Si tu cliques ici, ça va te donner le site web simplifié. Donc, ça va te donner seulement le texte qui est dans le site web, puis pas toutes les annonces, puis les photos qui sont à l'écran. Donc, des fois, ça peut éliminer des pertes de temps pour des élèves. Puis aussi, pour la lecture, il y a la fonction de Open Dyslexic. So you can change the font to the Open Dyslexic font so that it is easier to read for the kids that need that specific font. I'm just gonna... you can make it bigger. You can change the contrast right in here. So blue on yellow. Merci, Megan. I switched to French and I forgot to switch back to English. And this one will separate your text a little bit. So sometimes it'll make some websites easier to read for some of the kids. And you can adjust your text without all the images and the commercials that come up. So I think that's it for the read and write functions. I don't know. I know I went kind of quick through all of them. If there's any questions, you guys can go ahead. We can take a little pause and see if anybody has questions with those functions. I think we're good. So Christine, I think I'm going to hand it over to you and I'm going to let you share your screen.
Yep, perfect. I've taken over control here now. I'm going to share my entire screen. Let's see. So what I'm going to do, if anybody hasn't got Equatio, I just put the link that you can just easily click on in the chat. That will bring you right to the extension store. there was a question, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Was there that we should address first before I go ahead?
I'm gonna go read it and I'll let you know.
Okay.
No, I have not. So the question is, have you used read and write within Lumio? I haven't used it in there because I haven't used Lumio very much. I don't know if anyone else has used it or if it's even available in Lumio. Christine, you can start and I'll go try it out.
Okay. So, all right, I just put the link into the chat there for anybody who hasn't got the Equatio extension. So if you click on that, you will actually get to the screen that you see here. And if within NLESD, the extensions, you will actually see a category here for NLESD. These are all of the extensions that have, for lack of a better word, I guess, been vetted, approved by IT. And you can easily get them with absolutely no kind of time lag or, you know, asking for special permission. So under the NLESD, you can see Equatio. I'm going to reinstall it again because I just removed it. So I can obviously reinstall it for demo purposes. So you would just click on Add to Chrome. It's going to ask you, you know, it'll know your email address. Everything's fine with this. You can just click on Add Extension. And what'll happen, it will do this kind of like, it looks like a little download, but basically it's just adding it to Chrome. And as you see, it is kind of like a square kind of put on its edge or on its point, sorry, there. And now it is on your actual Chrome toolbar. If you don't see it, what you do, that little puzzle piece, click on that puzzle piece, find it in your list of extensions and just click on the little pin. Now that it's there, you have easy access to it all the time, and it's up here on your extensions toolbar. Super easy to have. So that's how you would go about getting the Equatio extension on your Chrome. Now, in my slide deck, I'll switch over there to that right now. In my slide deck, I do, and I'll share this with you, I do go through how to, you know, where you got to go if you wanted to get this on other platforms. You can get it for desktop, PC, Mac, whatever the case may be. So now that we have hopefully that installed here, I'm going to show you some of the aspects of it. So I'm not going to go through all of this. There's about a dozen slides here. This slideshow will be used hopefully for future reference. And I'm just going to go into presenter view here now so we can go through it. So what is Equatio? Basically, there's a video here. Every video is about, I don't know, 3 minutes. So they're super easy to be able to go through. I didn't create most of these videos. These videos are just resources that Equatio has out there. Super easy to follow. Basically, Equatio, creating digital math. You can either type it, you can dictate it, or you can handwrite and get your math or whatever it is you want to answer, portray, and get it from basically onto your digital documents. And as I said, we just went through the Chrome extension. You can get it for other platforms as well. Completely compatible with Google Workspace. So you can use this within Forms, Google Docs, Google Drawings, Jamboard. And NLESD has access to premium accounts. Now, I tested this out with another person, Melissa Lee. She didn't have the same premium access as what I had. And that was just a matter of getting in contact with your IT administrator and, you know, seeing what the case was. But we do have access as NLESD. I'm not sure about CFSP, whether or not that is actually the case as well. But what you'll see here today with respect to what I am going to show is all the premium aspects. We're not going to be able to go through, I guess, everything here today, but each of these videos and the Google Jamboard, that link to create activities, that is a very easy step-by-step procedure that goes through how you use Equatio in each of these forms. And the reason I chose these simply due to the fact that this is mostly what we're using, I guess, with our students when we're in our, I guess, our classrooms, you know, whatever the case may be it online or in person. So some of those resources there are really good to go back and look at for future reference. There's 2 additional features that I think are super good. And that's kind of strange, super good, but I really like them. Equatio Math Space. This is like a little bit like Lumio. You create your space. You create basically your activities. And then what you can do, you can get a link to copy and send a copy to each of your students. And it syncs up seamlessly with Google Classroom. You can send a copy to each of your students. They respond, then they submit it, and then you can go back and actually leave comments and kind of correct their work. It seems to be, based on a little bit of feedback I got, has some features that might be a little bit better than Lumio, but I guess it's all about personal preferences. That is a standalone web application. This video that I have here, this is a webinar that I thought was particularly useful that I found. It is about 30 minutes, but I swear to God that after the 30 minutes watching this, you'll have a much better understanding of Equatio Math Space and how to use it. And it is really good online tool to be able to have access to. Equatio Mobile, basically what that does is you can have a document up on your screen, and then you can pick up your phone and log into Equatio Mobile and do all of your workings on your phone and just click insert, and it will insert it into the document that you have active and open on your desktop or Chromebook. I did a little video demo here for that. It's about 3 minutes long, maybe a little bit longer. Super easy to use. And these 2 features I think would be really useful and for especially online classroom. And it's only been probably the past couple of years that these 2 features have been out. So I just want to highlight this. If you don't get everything that you want out of this session today with respect to Equatio, there are 2 upcoming sessions. And all I did was I copied the information from the NLESD member services. So if you can, NLESD personnel can go on and member services and actually sign up for this. They're open kind of sessions, and they're actually going to be sessions done with people from, who own, operate, look after Equatio and read, write, help. The text, I can't remember the organization name, Text Help, I think that might be the organization name. But they will go through 2 sessions here, one specifically for junior high and senior high, and another one would be for elementary. So those 2 sessions there. You have access to the slide deck, so you have access to those meet links, and certainly, for the CFSP, hopefully I say that right. Is that right? CFSP? Yeah?
CSFP.
CSFP. If you click on the link and you want to attend these, I cannot see why they wouldn't just let you in, and maybe we can give them a heads up. I can email the organizers of these sessions that you can have access to that, and hopefully, I can't see why they wouldn't let you in, but they would. We'll ask them. So those 2 upcoming sessions, I think would be really useful. I've actually have signed up for them just to see if I can, get some more insight and some more, further ideas to be able to develop and use this in the classroom. So here's the toolbar when you actually install it, and there's a lot of different things here. So right now, I'm going to go over to a document so we can look at my toolbar. So I have a document here created. And it's very simple. All I did was I created a few simple math questions. Right now, the toolbar is not activated on this screen. To activate the toolbar, I would just have to go up to the extensions here and click on the Equatio. So you can look at it and hover over it, and it says Equatio has access to this site. So if I wanted to add some math or do some editing here, I would just click on this. And sometimes I got to click on it a couple times. And sometimes I actually got to refresh my document. So these are just some tips that I found help. Refresh my document and then go up and click on it. And the toolbar, did it come up? Yeah, came up down below. The toolbar is down here. Now, I probably had to refresh my document simply due to the fact that I just reinstalled that extension. As you can see, once it pops up, you have all of these different things down right here. On that slide deck, I go through what each one of these things is in fact called. The biggest things I want to say to everybody is under this blue Equatio here, you can actually go in and change how this appears, because there might be some functions on this that you might not want your students to use. For instance, this one right here, the LaTeX editor, I don't think anybody in elementary or junior high school, or maybe even senior high school, would use this editor. And you can actually remove that from your toolbar so that students don't see this. This would be more of a technical kind of math application. And most people that I've known that use this LaTeX editor for making math have done it, I guess, at the university level. So if you wanted to, you can actually go into this little blue Equatio, go up to your options and change some of the settings there. So you get your toolbar options. You could actually toggle on or toggle off the things that you want to see. So the LaTeX editor, if you didn't want to see that, just toggle it off. There's a speech input. There's the handwriting recognition, graph editor. All of these things I think should be there for a K-12, but it's completely up to you as to what you're doing. If you didn't want to use Equatio Mobile, you can click that, the math space. So you can get rid of the things that you don't necessarily want your students to see. They might get confused with. That is completely up to you. The other thing that I want to point out is your math options. A lot of people, when they're using this, they'll ask and they'll say, you know, it is getting a little bit, you know, what's being typed out is a little bit too small. Can I make the font larger? Here, you can actually go to extra large or large. Right now, it's just on regular. So I'm just going to leave it on regular. If anybody needs to be go to different fonts, you can go here, and you can pick your different languages here for your math. So these would be really good options to know about how to change. I'm just going to close that for now. This is where you would go as well if you wanted to try Math Space. I'm not going to go there right now, but Math Space, if you wanted to try it, this is where you would click on Try Math Space, and it brings you to a different web-based application that would be sort of similar to what anybody's experienced Lumio. This right here, I'm going to skip the LaTeX editor because, like I said, that's more for the higher, you know, math sort of situations, say in university. You have the three editors here. Your equation editor would be if you wanted to use your keyboard to create math in terms of just your regular text in your font. So right now, if I wanted to, I can just click on this. What happens? It'll ask me right here to start typing. So I could just, wherever my cursor is on my dock, I could start typing math. And I don't know, I'm just going to do y equals 2x plus 3. And again, it could be anything depending on what level math you are actually, I guess, at, be it, you know, the primary, elementary, all up junior high to senior high. If I was happy with that, all I would need to do, it would be to insert math, and it inserts it automatically wherever I'm just going to close that, inserts it automatically, as you can see, wherever my cursor was on my screen. And I can take that, move it around, change it, do whatever the case, you know, is needed. If I wanted to, I could do the exact same thing here. I'm just going to skip over the graph editor for a second. I could go here and just do it as handwriting recognition. If I click on this, it'll ask me over here to handwrite. And I'm going to do this now with my mouse, so it may look a little bit lopsided, and I apologize for that. I'll try to do the exact same thing. You may have to start from scratch here. Let me see, because sometimes I find, see, it picks up 4. I'm not very good at using, let me see, Y. Did it pick up Y? Yep, it picked it up. Y. Y equals, and I could do 2. And again, I'm not doing this very well because I'm trying to do this. If I had a stylus and I was using a touch screen, this would be a lot better. 2x plus 3. And if it picked up anything that you didn't like, I would suggest coming over here and just say, if I wanted to say that be 6 instead of 3, I made a mistake. I can just come over here and then enter it that way. Click on Insert Math, and it would insert it again. And you'll be able to see it once I close it. it'll insert it here. So again, I can move that. So I can do the handwriting recognition. And I also could do a speech input here. I'm going to put my cursor just above this, and I'll try to see if I can click here. You have to select that red button in order to get the speech input to start. And I'm going to try to see if it recognizes my voice. Hopefully it does. Y equals 2x plus 3. I'm going to click that to stop. And as you can see, it didn't pick it up. And it's probably due to the fact that my microphone is being used right now in this Google Meet. But all you would have to do is click here. Y equals 2x plus 3. And it should recognize it and then pop up over on this side. And again, if I wasn't on this Google Meet, I'm pretty well sure that that would in fact happen. The only thing I want to point out is you can also include some text when you're actually doing this as well. So for instance, I can use the equation editor, which is just my keyboard. I can use the handwriting tool, which is just obviously my writing on screen, or I can do the speech input and all of it would be inserted. Now, what I want to show is if I go back to the equation editor and I start typing, some may want, and you can see it does a bit of prediction. So if you didn't want any of the prediction to happen, basically you can go into your settings and turn off some of your prediction. Now, I didn't accept the prediction, so instead of coming up as a plus, I left it as sum, S-U-M. But as you can see, it's in italics. So right now, if I wanted that to be text, I can highlight it and just come up here and hit that little T. And as you'll see, it'll no longer be italicized. It'll just go like kind of like normal font. That tells me that that's a text component of my math equation. And that's completely fine. And then what I can do then from there is just type in my normal math. And I can have kind of like the stem part of my question being a part of this as well. The only thing I'll say is sometimes this is looking for math symbols. So it might take, say, the apostrophe in math, the apostrophe in reading means something completely different than, say, what it would here. This may take the apostrophe as being a prime symbol because it's trained to look for math symbols. It's trained to be able to determine whether or not what you're typing is in fact a math symbol. So you got to sort of be aware of that and understand that it's looking 100% for always for math symbols. So if I was happy with this, I would just click insert math, close this up. And as you can see here, now it has that kind of upfront part of the stem of my question being a part of my math problem. If I needed to go back in and do something with this in terms of editing it, I can just click on it, come here to edit math, and I should be able to edit that particular piece that I just completed. And let's say I forgot to say, I don't know, 22 plus 334. If I just click on insert math now, it should make those changes. I need to close it in order to be able to see the changes. And as you can see, I did and was able to go back and make those changes. So there is the equation, the handwriting recognition, and then the speech input to be able to be used here. It does also have the ability to make graphs. So as we come down here, this is just some other stuff that I created. For instance, I just very simply made this graph. And in order to make any graph like that, all you would need to do is obviously put your cursor to where you want, click on your graph editor, and then what pops up here is you can put in equations, or you could put in, if I click this little plus sign, I can put in a table and create my own table of values. And as I'm going along here, creating this table of values, whatever it is, you can basically have that. And if I wanted to graph something else with it, I can just come up here, for instance, and just hit that little plus sign and have something else graph with it. Completely up to you. Right now, I have nothing here in this first kind of row, so it's giving me this little error. But if I wanted to, I can graph something else along with it. If I didn't want this row, I can just easily hit that little X and make that gone. And the only thing that I'm going to graph here would be my table of values. So now if I click on insert graph, hopefully I will see that graph with those corresponding, and there's those little green dots right there. It's not very much of a graph, but it's just an example, as you can see, that I can do it with the table of values, or I can actually do it just with equations. So right now, I can get rid of that and just do a simple equation. Y equals, again, I'll just do 2x plus 3 and insert that graph. And I have that graph easily inserted. So there's a lot of things that you can do with it. I haven't shown you anything beyond kind of like those 3 simple things here. And the math space and the use of the STEM tools here. If anybody was teaching, say, chemistry in high school, you can actually look at the STEM tools here. It allows you to see different molecules in 3 dimensions. And if anybody is a chemistry teacher here, for the Vesper theory that they do at high school, would be super useful. But that is basic, just like the cream of the crop or whatever, very tops of the trees. But those 2 sessions that NLESD has, I would certainly, if you're interested in any of this, certainly attend those as well.
Christine, there's 3 questions in the chat, and they're all about Equatio. So can I ask them? I'll just read them to you out loud.
Yep.
So I don't lose them in the chat. So the first one was, can it be linked with Google Forms in Sheets so that it self-corrects?
Can it be so it self-corrects? Yeah, it can. So if you, I think I know what you're talking about. So I'm just going to exit this right now and look at an example that the very kind of, so this is an example with Google Forms here. So it does link up with Google Forms. And so this here was something I created just this morning. And if I was giving this to students, you would create your Google form as you normally would. And if you had as a multiple choice, you would correct, you would just as you're creating your Google form, select the correct response. And basically, as you can see here, anytime there's an instance where you're looking for a student to actually enter an answer, this little thing over here pops up saying that you insert math here using Equatio. So all I would need to do, so if I wanted to, 26 plus 48, I can actually just click on insert math. I click on the Equatio little symbol, and then I can either insert my math down here the exact same 3 ways I did before. So on the student's end, this is what they would see. And then as they answer that question, they can come down to the next question, click on the Equatio, insert the exact same way as before. I created these 4 graphs using Equatio. They only have to select A, B, C, D, whatever the correct answer is. This one here, what is the equation in line? They would click on the Equatio and insert their math here to get the answer, the exact same way as you would with Google Docs. So anytime that you have Equatio kind of activated, it shows you in the G Suite or the Google Workspace applications where you can use the different, in a doc, you can use the Equatio application anywhere. In a form, it actually shows you the specific places and where you can use it. Hopefully that answers the question.
Okay, there's another question from Trudy. So she's asking if Equatio file, could Equatio file be imported into Lumio?
Yeah, good question. I am not 100% certain on that. That would be a better question, I guess, for those individuals who are doing those sessions come on on the next day. I can show you just an Equatio math space that I created, and I shared it with one of my colleagues. So this is Equatio right here. This is Equatio math space. To get to Equatio math space, all I did, you click on your Equatio, try Equatio math space, it will load all of the math spaces that I created. Now, here's all my spaces. Assignments. This tab are all the assignments that I've sent out. The submitted assignments, those are the assignments that I have like participated on, and I actually submitted to somebody else. So for teacher purposes, this is where you would go. Assignments, this is where everything you create is being sent to your students. So for instance, this one right here, I sent to a fellow teacher because I wanted to, you know, see what it looked like on the student's end, and just see if there's any changes with respect to any of the different parameters within Workspace. If I actually click on this and go there, it actually tells me Brianna, who's an individual who works, she's a teacher, she works with Brilliant Labs, she actually submitted this back to me with her answers in it. So I submitted a blank document to her. So if I have more or multiple students here, all of their names would show up, and I would just be able to click on all of their work and see what they got done. So if I want to see what Brianna's got done, I can click on her name there. It will show me what she sent back to me. And this is all her workings kind of here that she did it just using, I guess, the stylus and the handwriting recognition tool in Equatio. And then she just went on to the next question, and she inserted this answer with the equation editor down here. And when she sent it back to me, I was able, over on the side here, as you can see, give her some feedback. I said, for the second question, please put fraction in lowest terms and resubmit. I can just click on the blue button, and the feedback automatically gets sent back to her. So very easy in this kind of like standalone web-based platform to create your math problems, create different things, share it with your students. They submit it then, and then it comes back to you, and then you can provide feedback. Is it compatible with Lumio in terms of doing that? I am not 100% certain on that. Sorry.
The other question is, does it do number lines?
Does it do number lines? I would have to say, I would think yes, it would do number lines. Have I ever done a number line with it? No, I have not. But I can guarantee if you Google number lines in Equatio, you will find probably a 2 to 3 minute little video on it. Equatio has a huge number of like small little snippets, and very useful. And the other thing is, when you actually go to use Equatio, you will notice a lot of the times here, if you click on this, they're always popping up with like little ideas and different things that you may want to do. They have their own like kind of Equatio Academy, and there's like little video snippets of so many different things here that you could possibly do. So I would say yes. I've not done it myself, but if you just did a quick little search on that, I'm almost certain you'd be able to find it.
Okay. And does each student's Chromebook have to have Equatio loaded onto it? So I think
they do. They do. My understanding is that they do, in order to be able to get the premium access to it. So everybody, yeah.
Like every student would have to add the extension to their Chrome browser.
Yeah. So when they log in with their NLESD student account,
yeah,
they go through the exact same process.
Yeah. Same thing with read and write. It has to be added as an extension to your browser. Okay. And I think I got them all for now.
Yeah, there's some pretty interesting, like when I saw the math space and I was testing it out with a few people, some teachers indicated to me that it had some features that were better than Lumio. And, you know, but again, some people may not like this because some people get comfortable with, you know, certain aspects. What I really like about this is if I, like, for instance, if I was here and I added this image, and I did add this image. If I click on this image right here, I'm going to go back to my workspace, sorry. So if I go back to my assignments, this is my dashboard. I created this one right here, so I'm just going to click on that. Sorry. Right here. I'll just go to this one. This is money. So if I can get to it, we'll see. You can, hopefully you can. No, sorry. I won't show you that, but within this math space, there is the ability to click on different aspects and change the label of it. So if you imported an image, I can't show it to you right now because I don't have it queued up, but if you imported an image, if you click on it and say, you know, and ask it to kind of tell you what it is, it just says image. You can actually change the label on it and say, this is an image of money. You have, you know, a dime, nickel, and 3/4. You can actually change the label on it so that a student who needs to, they can actually click on it and play it. And whatever you typed is what's being dictated to them. So they get a better understanding versus when they click on it, all it says is this is an image. So I found that feature really neat. I wish I had it queued up to be able to show you, but I don't. So sorry about that.
And I don't know how it works with NLESD, but do students have access to add their own extensions on their Chromebooks, or is it, do they have to request it to the district?
My understanding is when you actually go to the Chrome store, there is a, so right here, I always just click Chrome extension. I go to the extension store, and for NLESD, these here, all of the extensions that are in this category have been vetted and been kind of like okayed for people to be able to use, be it anybody with an NLESD account, be it students or teachers.
Okay. Megan, did you have something to add?
No, I was just going to say that if you're, when Christine was in the math space, I can show, like, I know the button that says number line if you wanted to show.
Yep. So you can take over and you can certainly go ahead and do that. I'll stop presenting. There you go.
Okay. Let me see. Okay. Do you see my math space? Okay. So it's just simple. Just this. It says smart shapes in the bottom, and then the first option is number line, and you just pull it, and over here, you can adjust like the number of segments. So if you have a 25, I don't know, or 12 or whatever. Yeah, and then there's different ones too. So if you need a protractor, etc.
So yeah, Megan, just click on that if you can. Click on one of those. No, sorry. Click on one of your number lines. So This is what I was trying to show. Click on one of the number lines, and then if you go up to label, you can actually type in here what you want students to hear.
Oh, okay.
So if you type in, this is a number line from 0 to 12, you know, equal segments, whatever, from 0 to 12. And then right now, then if you go under speech and click on that little forward arrow, it will play what you put in your label. So you might not be able to read it right now or hear it right now, because the only way you'll be able to hear it is if you shared a tab.
Oh, okay.
Right. So, but when you play it, Megan,
this is a number line from 0 to 12.
So there you go. So sometimes when you add a label, you might have to go refresh, whatever the case may be. I find sometimes in Equatio, you do need to refresh when you make changes like that. But yeah, I really like that option because you can create all of your things here. And even if you imported an image of a problem, literally it'll just, when you click on it and hit that little speech arrow, it'll just say image, which is totally useless to your students because, you know, they're like, oh, nice, an image. So you can change that label to whatever the image is, and you can describe it as much as you want, and then click on, when your students then click on the actual thing on their workspace, go up to that arrow, it will basically, you know, say whatever it is you have for a description for that particular image, which workspace to me is super useful. And yeah, the amount of things that you can do with it. If you're used to Lumio, the workspace is a really useful option that you can easily just use and share. And you can share it seamlessly with your Google Classroom.
Cool. I'm going to stop sharing. Go. And over here, you can adjust like the number of segments. So if you have a 25, I don't know, or 12 or whatever. Yeah, and then there's different ones too. So if you need a protractor, etc.
So yeah, Megan, just click on that if you can. Click on one of those. No, sorry. Click on one of your number lines. So This is what I was trying to show. Click on one of the number lines, and then if you go up to label, you can actually type in here what you want students to hear.
Oh, okay.
So if you type in, this is a number line from 0 to 12, equal segments, whatever, from 0 to 12. And then right now, then if you go under speech and click on that little forward arrow, it will play what you put in your label. So you might not be able to read it right now or hear it right now, because the only way you'll be able to hear it is if you shared a tab.
Oh, okay.
Right. So, but when you play it, Megan,
this is a number line from 0 to 12.
So there you go. So sometimes when you add a label, you might have to go refresh, whatever the case may be. I find sometimes in Equatio, you do need to refresh when you make changes like that. But yeah, I really like that option because you can create all of your things here. And even if you imported an image of a problem, literally it'll just, when you click on it and hit that little speech arrow, it'll just say image, which is totally useless to your students because, they're like, oh, nice, an image. So you can change that label to whatever the image is, and you can describe it as much as you want, and then click on, when your students then click on the actual thing on their workspace, go up to that arrow, it will basically, say whatever it is you have for a description for that particular image, which workspace to me is super useful. And yeah, the amount of things that you can do with it. If you're used to Lumio, the workspace is a really useful option that you can easily just use and share, and you can share it seamlessly with your Google Classroom. Now let's do it. The screenshot reader. If you have any text in it, sometimes it might pick up the text slightly inconsistently because this screenshot reader right here is looking for math. It's been trained to recognize math. So I'll just redo what I did earlier. Sorry about that. Click on the screenshot reader. It is highlighted, or it's got that little blue line above it. Drag a box around what you want. Let go. If it was successful,
3x plus 3 equals 6.
It pops up like that. And you can replay it if you want. And if you just want to close it, you would just hit that little X. So it's useful for math-related items. It might have a little bit of difficulty with just normal text. And I was trying to show this example here. I wanted to say, if I had a text with an apostrophe, for instance, a text with an apostrophe, if I use the screenshot reader now, it's probably going to treat that apostrophe as a prime symbol because it's looking for math. It's been trained to look for math.
Haven prime T.
So it's not going to read that as normal, English text. It's reading it as Haven prime T because it's trained to look for math symbols. So that's super important for your students to be able to aware. If I wanted normal text to be written, I would use the screenshot capture and that ability in read and write. And if you have math that you want read, use this screenshot capture.